equip the house with? What were some of the changes that you did to take it from being a vacation home to being home?
Yeah, well, one thing, I started having a place down here in about 95. And of course, back then it was just a piece of land on the beach, with a fifth wheel trailer and a porch with a couple roofs. And so what I did when I did, cause I kind of, I just knew someday I'd be here. So I tried to plan it out pretty good. So what I did is I built a shop first, a 50 by 60 shop. Had the Mexicans build it out of rocks, and then I put a roof on it, cement floor, and then that way I could bring all my stuff down that I needed to build with. And so over the years, every time I come down, I bring loads and loads and loads of all the tools and, welding equipment and just everything that I could dream of that I would need for a workspace, workshop, and then also the right things to be able to build and make this place comfortable, with something, like we really want it. And one of the biggest things was that I did that was really right was first thing I brought down was a backhoe. So that's worked really well. I'm still using it today. That thing is so old, but it does really well, and we use it all the time. So, but just things like that, and all the furniture, all the parts and pieces that we could. We ended up just, like I say, moving, so we ended up bringing almost everything down here. So it's worked out really well.
So I think a common theme. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think a common theme that I'm hearing, and it makes sense, is that especially when you're in a remote area, is making sure you have equipment, tools, and whatnot, and the mindset to be self-sufficient. Because, and I've experienced that as well. When you don't have Home Depot around the corner, you've got to be, like I said, a little more self-sufficient. And it sounds like you having a tractor was a good move for sure.
Yeah, the backhoe is really, really a good move. I brought a backhoe and dump truck down here, and boy, I'll tell you, it really paid off because I dug all the foundations, the footings, and built the pads to build everything on, and moving all the rock and, just all the stuff, and moving a lot of heavy equipment and stuff. So, yeah, and I've just brought nuts and bolts and, all these little things, like you said, you just can't go get everything like you are at home. When you need a washer or a nut or bolt, you got to have it, so for years and years, I would steal a lot of stuff from my race shop, bring stuff down, that, like the nut and bolts and the things like that are hard to come by.
So we're hearing about the beautiful view, the right decisions you've made, the things that are required to survive down there, and the good things. And we all know real life's not always full of good things. Have you made some mistakes? Are there things that are a struggle? What are some of the things that listeners would also want to be aware of if they were even remotely contemplating moving to Baja or specifically Bay of LA?
Well, I don't know that I can't really think of anything that I would do a lot different than the way we've done it. And as far as any real negatives, other than being, 200 miles to the nearest real shopping, full-blown shopping, 200 miles in one direction and 400 in another direction. That's probably the biggest negative, having to plan. I know my wife does a great job with planning getting all the groceries, getting all the food, and, for like long periods at a time. So we got freezers, for the food and that kind of thing. The store now, I mean, the town really has gotten better. LA Bay has gotten really, there's 3 or 4 grocery stores in town, and they're great because a lot of times we can tell them what we want, and when they go pick things up, they pick them up for us. So it's come a long way. When we first come here, there was no, you had to go think. There was no way to get anything. You could barely find gasoline. Now there's two gas stations, 3 or 4 grocery stores, and some really great places to eat. Food's really good. 2 or 3 really good Mexican restaurants that are very good.
Well, that's an important one. I'm glad you brought that up. We're always searching for favorite tacos. I've shared with a few people that my favorite taco comes from a place called Lalo's Tacos up in La Rumorosa, right on the border. Uh-huh. Where's the favorite taco place in Bay of LA?
Yeah, ours is called China's, and that's just a little trailer they pulled the tires off of, and it's now a taco stand, and she's the best. You go there, and gringos, we all get together. We usually on a Tuesday or something like that. We'll all meet certain times a year. We do 5, 6, 8 groups of people, and we go have China's tacos, which they're fantastic.
All right, duly noted. Next time I'm in Bay of LA, I'm looking for China's. Can you give me an idea where I should find it?
Yeah, when you pull into town, it's first. It's actually about the second taco stand you come to, but it's right by the liquor store. Yeah. Las Hamacas.
Ah, okay.
Yep, it's right there on the right-hand side.
Gotcha. So I've just
painted maroon red. So, go ahead.
A couple more thoughts and questions for you, Roger. I was part of a group several years ago after the last big hurricane that hit there, and we came down and brought supplies to town of Bay of LA, and then also down a little further south. Went down to Poncho's and took him some stuff. And the devastation was it was mind-blowing what the water flow can do to a town. And I think that was, are we going on 4 years from that big one? How's the town recovered? Is everything back to normal? And are there remnants of any of the damage still affecting daily life?
No, it's really quick. And thanks to people like you guys helping, that's great. And they, the roads were washed out was the worst thing, and it came down and took out. It affected a few homes, but not very much at all. They lucked out. The water ran in most of the right places, but boy, it did hit hard and took out a big swath, a lot of road, the main road coming in. But that's all been fixed now, and they're full swing. Looking good.
Well, so
and I highly recommend. I mean, go ahead.
I want to hear your recommendation. Let's hear the recommendation.
Well, I highly recommend anybody listening that they want to just see a place that's really beautiful. When you first pull into LA Bay, you come over the last mountain range, and first thing you'll see is the Sea of Cortez with all these islands that are scattered all the way across all the way between. There's I don't know how many, but there's must be 8 or 10 beautiful islands that are spotted all the way through the Sea of Cortez, clear over to Island, which is 26 miles out, and it's 26 miles long. The island is, and it's just the most beautiful thing you ever see when you pull over that mountain range. And I think anybody would love to see that. And the town is welcoming. I mean, like I said, there's plenty of great places to eat and hang out. So, and there's a lot of what I like too is obviously there's a lot of desert, and we have toys, desert cars, toys that we love. We go on a lot of rides, and there's a lot of places to go. The church, San Borja. The San Borja mission is a great ride. We ride up there a lot and see the mission that was built back in, I don't know how long, but it's, the whole thing of missions that run all the way through the Baja. But anyway, there's just a lot of great places. We just went on a ride recently to a place called Los Animas, which is the first big bay that south of us on the way to San Francisco. And we went down there and just had a blast. Beautiful, beautiful place.
Yeah,
so
that's
a lot of great places, a lot of great things to do.
That's a great thing to bring up, San Francisco, and it's a great little loop you could do for anybody listening that's not doesn't require a crazily modified vehicle, but coming into Bay of LA on the pavement and then heading south in the dirt to eventually land yourself in San Francisco. It's a great little village you can fly into as well. And fishing off the beach and so on. I forgot about that, San Francisco down there. So, Roger, you are, as we talked about, retired race car driver and living large in Baja. What do you got coming up? What is Roger Mears doing in Baja in the next couple of months? Any major plans?
No, I really don't. That's just like I said, hanging out here, living the dream, and my wife and I just built a chicken coop. That's what we've been doing this last week or so, and she has chickens now, so we're going to have a bunch of fresh eggs. We're looking forward to that. And as far as racing goes, I'm not. I finally pulled the trigger and retired. I never, all of a sudden I got to looking, and I had about 3 or 4 races lined up to do this year. One in Guam, and the Mexican Mayhem, and the Nora, and I just got an offer yesterday to go to a ride in Crandon. So I got all these races coming at me, and I'm going, I retired, and I used to get paid to do that. Now I'm going and doing this stuff for nothing. It's not making any sense. So I just last week called Lynn and Rory and called Simpson over in Guam and turned those deals down. And I feel bad about it because I would do them. And I believe in doing what you say you're going to do. But I just finally just go, you know what? I'm done. I'm just, as far as the driving, the racing part, I'm done. But don't get me wrong. I still love going fast. I just don't like to go fast as long as I did.
Well, not to mention you've got some chickens to tend to now, or at least a coop to finish building, right?
That's right.
Well, Roger, it's been great catching up with you, and it's always nice to hear insight from locals who are living where lots of us either used to live or would like to live. So appreciate the insight there, and I'm happy that you are happily retired. I'm looking forward to coming and seeing you during the Nora race. You got any last little pieces of advice for anybody listening? Life advice, living in Baja advice, anything else? The floor is yours, and then we're going to cut you off and let you get back to living the good life.
Okay. No, I really don't have anything, but just to say that anybody more than welcome to come here anytime. You guys there especially, we enjoyed having you here before, and you're always welcome here. So anytime, just stop by. We get quite a few. You'd be surprised how many visitors. Walker Evans and a whole group of them come by all the time. And and it's a shame about Spencer Lowe, because Spencer Lowe was just here about this time last year. He drove up, him and Kathy, in Jeep, and hung out with us for a while. And so we PJ Jones and some of those guys, a lot of people. We get more visitors than you might think. Cool.
Well, it doesn't surprise me that you got old school off-road racers coming to